Welcome back to the Great American History class. And in this episode, we will have the reading of the notes for Chief Joseph and the Nez Perce Indians. I will fight no more forever. It really is, in my opinion, one of the most incredible sequence of events in all of American history. And in my humble opinion, albeit one of the saddest story sequence of events in all of American history. So let's get to the reading of the notes. Chief Joseph and the Nez Perce Indians, I will fight no more forever. Again, they are in who, what, where, when, and why. In the who, we have, of course, Chief Joseph, and this would be Chief Joseph the Younger, leading Indian chief of the Nez Perce in the Walla Walla Valley of northeastern Oregon. He was 37 years old at the time of these events, and had to first make a difficult decision about what to do when they were ordered off of their land to a reservation in Idaho, and then would end up leading his people on a perilous journey of flee and fight that would cover about 1,500 miles before having to surrender in Montana, just 40 miles from Canada. His famous surrender speech is entitled, "I will fight no more forever." Chief Joseph would die alone in front of his teepee fire on the Colville Reservation in Washington, the state of Washington, 1904. His doctor would list his cause of death as a broken heart. Now, a second very important person in the sequence of events here is General Otis Howard. He is the American military general assigned to go in pursuit of Chief Joseph and the Nez Perce Indians. General Otis Howard was the military man that was ironically, so to speak, put in command of the American Army unit that would force Chief Joseph and the Nez Perce off of their land in the Walla Walla Valley of northeastern Oregon, and then would end up being in pursuit of their capture. Howard, by all accounts, was a man of compassion and had served in the Civil War, where he lost one of his arms in battle. After the Civil War, he had founded an all-black school that still bears his name today. It is called Howard University in Washington, D.C. So, General Otis Howard, ultimately, by all accounts, was a man of great compassion, and ultimately, though, he was assigned to the pursuit of the Nez Perce Indians, and he would do his duty. The Nez Perce Indians, a proud Indian tribe that lived in the northwest area of the United States, mainly in the states of Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. The Nez Perce Indians were the tribe that helped Lewis and Clark during their most difficult time on the expedition, as they were facing starvation, freezation, and death as they made their way through the Bitterroot Range of the Rocky Mountains. The journals of Lewis and Clark are filled with nothing but great words of admiration and respect for the Nez Perce Indians, as they also called them the most hospitable people that they met on the entire expedition. So, by most all accounts, the Nez Perce Indians, who helped Lewis and Clark, had a very positive relationship with the American government and the white settlers in the area out here in the West. However, that would begin to change with the founding and the discovery of gold. And then, of course, after Custer's last stand in the Battle of the Little Bighorn. And ultimately, they were ordered to leave their reservation, or to leave their land and report to live on the reservation in Idaho. So what happens? The Nez Perce Indians of Chief Joseph were living in the Walla Walla Valley of northeastern Oregon. It was land that by treaty was to forever be theirs, as Chief Joseph's dad had signed a land treaty agreement with the American government in 1855. However, gold would be discovered in the Walla Walla Valley in 1860, and many white people pushed into this area of land of the Nez Perce. And in the spring of 1877, the American government ordered the Nez Perce Indians to a reservation in Idaho, and thus Chief Joseph and the Nez Perce Indians would have to make a decision about whether to leave their land of the Walla Walla Valley and or go to the reservation. The initial decision of Chief Joseph was to go and live on the reservation in Idaho. But after some Nez Perce Indians killed a few white settlers in the area, and then after the Battle of White Bird Canyon in Idaho took place, that decision would change and be made for him that they would go on a flee and flight journey of nearly 1,500 miles. Chief Joseph would end up leading a 1,500-mile flee and flight journey as they attempted to stay one step ahead of the American Army, as they eventually attempted to make their way all the way to Canada. And they almost did, except for that they stopped to rest one final time about 40 miles from the Canadian border at the Bear Paw Mountain region in Montana. The American Army caught up with them at Bear Paw Mountain, and in a 5-day battle and siege and standoff, they would force the surrender of Chief Joseph and the Nez Perce Indians, who delivered his now famous surrender speech entitled, "I Will Fight No More Forever." Chief Joseph surrendered himself and about 431 Nez Perce Indians, while about 233 made their way to Canada to meet up with Sitting Bull, including Yellow Wolf, White Bird, Toma, and their baby girl, Peeweewas. The surrendered Nez Perce Indians were taken to the hot country, Indian Territory, Oklahoma, for several years before being allowed to return to the Pacific Northwest, but never again back to the Wallowa Valley of northeastern Oregon. Today there is Nez Perce, Idaho. That would be the center of the Nez Perce Indian culture. Where did it happen? The Nez Perce Trail begins in the Wallowa Valley of northeastern Oregon, Idaho, Yellowstone National Park, Wyoming, and through the center of Montana, and ends at Bear Paw Mountain. And again, there's the map. Northeastern Oregon, Wallowa Valley. Battle at White Bird Canyon. Battle at the Big Hole. Chief Joseph's wife was actually wounded at the Battle of the Big Hole. Her name is Toma. Yellowstone National Park. Up through the center part of Montana. And right here's the surrender at Bear Paw Mountain, about 40 miles from the Canadian border, Canada. When did it happen? It is going to begin in the spring of 1877, and it is going to end on October of 1877. Why did it happen? The American government, of course, did not honor an 1855 treaty with the Nez Perce Indians, and ultimately gold was discovered in the Wallowa Valley, and more white settlers pushed in to this area, and the American government ordered them, the Nez Perce Indians, off of their land in the Wallowa Valley, and ultimately that led to the sequence of events that we have gone through. So again, we have the video to watch, "I Will Fight No More Forever." It was aired in 1975, 45 years ago. It is historically accurate. Again, it's always easy for us to sit in the Great American History class and watch a video reenactment of these events. But remember, real life people actually live and or die through these events, and certainly Chief Joseph and the Nez Perce Indians did so. Watch the movie, know your notes, know the reading of the PBS article of Chief Joseph, and ultimately make it a great day to be an American.